Hello and welcome to the Fixed Setup Oval Guide. This series will cover fixed setup oval racing in iRacing, specifically the ARCA Menard series, as well as the NASCAR iRacing Class C, Class B, and Class A fixed series. If you are currently participating or plan on participating in any of those four series, congratulations. You have found your new home for timely and helpful information, tips, and tricks that can improve your weekly results. Every week, you will get a highlight of the track that each series is visiting, along with brief commentary and analysis of what to expect. Additionally, a guided hot lap will be shown for you to use as a foundation for your own practice efforts. This series is intended to inform and educate iRacers of all experience and skill levels. So if this type of content is of interest to you, be sure to hit the like button down below, subscribe to the channel to see future episodes, and turn notifications on so you never miss the latest information. For your convenience, each episode will be timestamped so you can find the information that matters most to you, but I recommend you watch my disclaimers before jumping ahead. As with any skill-based activity, your mileage may vary with the information shared in each episode. Sim racing requires individual effort in order to improve, and simply watching a video will not make you a better sim racer. Tips and tricks are not one size fits all, and you may need to adjust based on your skill level. My guided hot laps are not meant to be the gold standard. Take my recommendations with a grain of salt and as a good starting point if nothing else. Check back during each week for updated hot laps once I have more seat time in official races. Any analysis or commentary that I provide comes from my own experience on iRacing and may not always directly translate to what happens to you. I am human, I make mistakes, and I can be wrong. I try my best to avoid errors and misinformation, but if I do make a mistake, you have my apology in advance. This episode covers Week 2 of Season 1, which runs from December 22nd through the 29th of 2020. iRacing had a little sense of humor and gave us some polar opposites as far as track types go, so I hope you're ready for a little short track racing and some high-speed, high-stakes super speedway racing. Up first, the ARCA Menard series heads to USA International Speedway, a now demolished short track in Lakeland, Florida. This track features long straightaways and tight turns, and in my opinion, races like a longer version of Martinsville Speedway. The race is 60 laps and takes place around 5:40 p.m. in sim. As always, there are no cautions in the ARCA series, so having a clean race is critical to getting a good finish. Putting down a solid qualifying lap should put you well ahead of your typical midfield wreck, but as we all know, there's no truly safe place in an ARCA race. For my hot lap, I start braking about 4 speakers from the end of the front stretch fence. Yeah, I know, it's kind of an obscure thing, but you can also look for the second to last big dashed line on the track itself, whichever is easier for you to spot in the car. You might have to jump out, jump into your replay mode, and look to see what I'm talking about, but that's what I'm looking for, and that's what I use. If you're really, really good, another indicator that you can use is when your engine starts to bounce off of the rev limiter. It should coincide with what I'm talking about. That's what you're looking for. As you go into turn 1, apply decent brake pressure to get the car slowed down and rotated to the bottom of the track. On my run, I use 64% brake bias. You may need to run more if you're spinning out on entry. I recommend using the lowest brake bias that you can safely control. Applying more brake pressure at the beginning of the turn and then reducing that pedal application throughout the turn will allow you to keep good speed and rotation. Get back to nearly full throttle until the car feels secure on exit and allow the car to wash out towards the wall coming out of turn 2, holding the wall all the way down the back straightaway. Setting up for turn 3, my braking point is just past the end of the wall where that opening starts. Apply similar brake pressure as you did for turn 1, turn the car to the bottom, and patiently apply partial throttle until the car is settled for exit. At this end of the track, it's okay to let the car drift up just a little bit in the center and then point it towards the bottom as you pass the opening for pit road and you see the wall come out at you. After you pass that point, you should be able to apply full throttle for exit and complete the lap. Running a consistent line will be essential to finding success at USA International Speedway, and not giving up the bottom of the racetrack is key. Plan ahead if you're coming up on slower cars, and if you have to go to the outside, don't stay out there for long. Take care of your rear tires by not applying full throttle until the car is mostly straight out of the turns, and back up your corner entries so you don't melt that right front tire. If you can survive the short track chaos and keep your tires happy, you'll stand a pretty good chance of finding success in ARCA this week. See Fixed is at Iowa Speedway, a unique short track that has produced some excellent racing in previous visits. The race is 65 laps in length and takes place around 7 p.m. in sim. Iowa Speedway is about 9/10 of a mile in length and offers a wide racing surface that can provide drivers some flexibility when it comes to passing, particularly on restarts. Passing can become a challenge as the laps go on, so track position at Iowa is very important. That being said, a good qualifying run can make your life a lot easier, so let's take a look at a hot lap around Iowa. It's a good idea to get a run off the high side coming to start your flying lap, as this will give you a little speed boost down the front straightaway. Be mindful of the braking zone because the extra speed you're carrying can make it easy to overdrive the entry to turn 1. While you're going down the front straightaway, keep the truck as close to the wall as you can and start your turn in around the visual bend in the top seam as you approach the end of the front straightaway grandstands. Use gentle brake force to slow and rotate the truck while pulling it towards the very bottom of the track. The idea is to flatten turns 1 and 2 as much as possible. Apply enough throttle at the apex to power out of the turn, but not so much throttle that you lose rear grip and get loose. Getting to full throttle sooner without getting loose will only improve your lap time, but it is a fine balance at this track. Let the truck wash out to the wall exiting 2 and hold that line down the back straightaway. Start your turn in for 3 around the green and white camper outside the track. And just like turn 1, apply light braking to slow and rotate the truck down to the bottom dashed line. Apply enough throttle to build speed, again, without getting loose. And as you go down the front straightaway, feel free to cut down instead of riding the wall to save a little bit of time. Iowa Speedway sports some very large bumps in the upper groove of turn 1, right around where the dashed lines start. Avoid these bumps at all costs. Too high of an entry into turn 1 will all but guarantee a trip up towards the wall, so be ready for a rough ride if you miss your mark. At the other end of the track, the middle and upper grooves in turns 3 and 4 are actually the preferred lanes to use and can be used to both pass and defend very effectively. Don't be afraid to use that top lane either. It can work in some situations. The low groove, while the shorter way around, has less banking and will be harder on the tires and slower overall. Iowa Speedway is a track that is easy to overdrive if you're not paying attention. Back up those corner entries and save your right front tire. Your long run speed will thank you. Slow in, fast out, but be mindful of that throttle pedal so you're not tearing up your rear tires on exit because you're getting loose. Throttle patience and a consistent line while avoiding the bumps is your key to success at Iowa in See Fixed this week. Up next, Be Fixed goes to Talladega Superspeedway for what can only be described as big risk, big reward racing. The type of racing that has the ability to positively or negatively impact your safety rating and I rating in an extreme way. I urge you to proceed with caution because there is far more out of your control this week than normal, and it is easy to have a sudden string of bad finishes that cost you a ton of iRating and safety rating. With the draft acting as the great equalizer and no real tire-saving skill required, this week acts as a unique opportunity for the vast majority of drivers to get a win every time they make a start, so expect a larger volume of drivers than usual. Qualifying, while not ultra important, can get you ahead of potential issues, so learning how to put down a great lap can give you an early advantage. Let's take a look at the right way to run qualifying at Talladega, but first, I recommend changing your steering ratio to 16:1 in order to minimize tire scrub from your wheel input. The name of the game at Talladega is speed, so everything that you can do to minimize speed lost as you travel around the racetrack is only to your benefit, and 16:1 steering ratio can do exactly that. Make sure you change your steering ratio back in the race to whatever you like, but 16:1 in qualifying is my recommendation. So now, let's take a look at how to do qualifying at Talladega. The key to any successful qualifying run at this track starts from the moment you hit pit road. A good getaway, getting up through the gears smoothly and quickly, and maximizing your speed on your get up to speed lap is absolutely critical to winning pole or even starting towards the front. So, let's take a look at the line and the way around this track to maximize your speed. Because of the nature of Talladega, you can absolutely go full throttle all the way around the apron. As you come up through the gears, you should be in fourth gear before you get to the back straightaway. Slowly let your car blend out towards the outside wall, being sure to not turn the wheel too much and just let the car naturally ride its way out there. As you get into turn 3, let the middle of the car sort of travel over the dash line at the top of the racetrack. You don't need to be all the way against the wall as you get up to speed. It actually scrubs the tires more to do that. Let the dash line be your guide all the way around the track as you come to take the green flag and make your first lap before the second one, which will be the fast one. As you set up for your second lap, when you get to the start-finish line, let the car start to naturally move down the racetrack. You should not have to put very much steering input into it, but by the time you get into turn 1, you should have your left side tires right above that yellow line, keeping a tidy line all the way through the turn and blending up onto the back straightaway, letting the car sort of get back to that second dashed line. When you get to this light in the middle of the back straightaway, let the car one more time wander naturally down to the bottom of the racetrack so that you're on the bottom when you enter turn 3. Again, hold the car right on the bottom of the racetrack, and as you exit 4, a little bit of steering input to keep it on the bottom right there and set it up for a run through the tri-oval. Left side tires right against the yellow line. Try to be as smooth as possible. Keep it right against that yellow line all the way to the start-finish line. The race itself is 30 laps and takes place around 7 a.m. in sim. The skybox for this race will be unique as this start time is the earliest seen in all of Season 1. There are a few weeks where what takes place during each race is largely out of your control, but Talladega is definitely one of those weeks. The best advice I can give is to assume the worst and drive defensively. What I mean by that is be aware of what's going on around you and remove yourself from a situation if it starts to get too dicey, especially early on. If you're not comfortable bump drafting or being pushed by somebody else, safely get out of that situation and save it for later in the race. Eventually, you'll have to get comfortable pushing and being pushed, but like so many things in sim racing, that'll come with time and experience. Traditionally, it's game on once there's 10 laps to go in the race, so get ready for more aggressive pushing, lane changing, and blocking. If there isn't a huge wreck before the white flag, chances are there will be coming to the checkers. Pick the lane that you think will work best and hold on tight. Get ready to navigate a crash, and with any fortune, you'll make it back to the checkered flag in one piece. Don't be afraid to help push someone else to a win either. You never know when they may return the favor during the week. Best of luck out there, you're gonna need it. Like C-Fixed, A-Fixed also visits Iowa Speedway this week. The Cup Series cars are a much different experience around this track than the trucks, but many of the same pitfalls outlined earlier still apply. It's important to note that the Cup cars are using the high horsepower, low downforce package for Iowa, so be prepared for a less stable race car than you might be used to. The race is 70 laps and takes place around 8:30 p.m. in sim. Track position will be very important as passing will become increasingly more difficult as green flag laps click off. Here's a look at a qualifying lap around Iowa in the Cup Series car. Keep the car near the outside wall until you reach that same bend in the top seam that we used as a visual marker for C-Fixed qualifying. To attack turn 1, you'll need more turn-in to cross over that bend and point the car towards the bottom of the track. Apply light braking force to rotate the car and then gently apply partial throttle to build speed. Running this line, you will encounter a large bump that can make or break your lap depending on how you hit it. If you are patient on throttle, the car won't be overly disrupted, and after the bump, you should be able to apply full throttle and exit turn 2, letting the car wash out towards the wall. If you hit that bump wrong, be prepared to lift and stabilize the car, but understand that your lap will probably be a loss. Hold the wall down the back straightaway and look for that same braking marker that we used in C-Fixed, the white and green camper outside of the track, to begin your turn-in and light braking. Let the car hover just above the bottom dashed line and apply enough throttle to build speed, but not get loose until you can apply full throttle to exit the turn. Again, feel free to run low on the front straightaway to save a little time. With the low downforce package, it will be extremely easy to get loose if you jump into the gas too soon or too aggressively. For a good lap, be smooth and wait until the car is fully settled before giving it full power to exit the turns. As we discussed in the C-Fix section of the video, there is a large bump in the top groove of turn 1 right after the dashed lines begin. You want to avoid these bumps at all costs. Do not enter turn 1 high. Your car will bottom out and you will go up towards the wall if you hit these bumps. If you're side by side going into the turn, do whatever you got to do to avoid being pushed up the track that far, because if you go up there, better be ready to jump out of the throttle and keep your car out of the wall. Racing with the low downforce package puts an additional emphasis on throttle management, and you will most likely struggle if you cannot be smooth with the throttle pedal throughout a run. At Iowa, the high side of turn 3 will most likely become a prime piece of real estate for passing and defending as the run goes on, so be prepared to move around the racetrack and treat that throttle pedal like there's an egg under it in order to get a good finish in A-Fix this week. And just like that, you are now prepped and ready to take on Fixed Setup Oval Racing this week. I am super excited to build this series up and help out the community, and I hope you are excited to see future episodes. In order to make this series the best that it can be, I need your feedback. I need your feedback on what parts of this video you liked, disliked, and what additional information or features you'd like to see added in the coming episodes. Use the comment section down below and make your voice heard. I hope that you enjoyed this video and found the information to be educational, but most importantly, helpful. If you did, please help me out by rating and especially sharing this video so we can bring this information to more iRacers. If you want to see more iRacing content similar to this, make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn notifications on so that you never miss an episode. Additionally, you can catch me doing plenty of Fixed Setup Oval Racing on my Twitch channel, linked down in the description below. If you want to get in touch with me, The best way to do that is to follow me on Twitter, also linked down in the description below. Again, thank you so much for watching this video, and until next time, be good and be good to each other.